Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to do something that is honestly a little bit mind-bending. We're taking an awe-inspiring cosmic zoom out to truly understand our tiny but incredibly fascinating place in the universe. If you've ever felt completely overwhelmed by the daily grind, this journey is absolutely going to reframe your reality. So let's just kick things off with a simple question. Think you know where you live? You're probably picturing your house, your street, or maybe your city. But to truly understand our existence, we kind of need to challenge your perspective on the much grander space that we all call home.
Our local neighborhood. Let's start with a number, 252,088. That is the distance, in miles, between the Earth and the Moon at their very farthest point. Now, on paper, that number might not look too incredibly far, but you really have to visualize that physical space, which brings us to an absolutely mind-blowing concept.
Because here's what's so crazy. Inside that 252,088-mile gap, you could perfectly fit every single other planet in our entire solar system. Seriously, imagine taking Mars, Jupiter, Venus, Saturn, all the rest of them, and lining them up side by side. They would fit right neatly into the empty space between us and our moon.
And you know, when we start comparing planetary sizes, things get even more staggering. Take Jupiter. Jupiter's Great Red Spot alone, and remember, that's just a storm on its surface, is about 2 times as big as Earth. And Saturn is roughly 9 times wider than our home. We are, for sure, just a tiny little speck compared to our planetary neighbors.
And speaking of Saturn, even the seemingly delicate little fragments floating within its beautiful rings, they're actually incredibly massive up close. Some of those fragments are as large as terrestrial mountains right here on Earth.
Section 2, Visualizing Big Numbers.
To really grasp this scale, let's look at Earth from a few different vantage points in our solar system. From the Moon, Earth is a gorgeous giant blue marble. From Mars, it's just a bright dot. From just behind Saturn's rings, it's barely a speck. But as we travel 4 billion miles away to Neptune, Earth becomes almost entirely invisible. It's nothing more than a tiny, distant speck completely swallowed by the dark.
Now, 4 billion is a really tough number to actually wrap your head around. So to truly grasp what a billion means, let's use a simple analogy using time. Think about this. 1 million seconds is just 11.5 days. But 1 billion seconds? That is over 31 years. The jump from a million to a billion is literally astronomical, and we are talking about billions of miles out there in space.
Section 3. The Scale of Stars. The crucial point of this immense scale is beautifully captured in a famous quote by Carl Sagan. He said, "The total number of stars in the universe is larger than all the grains of sand on all the beaches of the planet Earth." It is a stunning analogy that perfectly illustrates a volume our human brains simply aren't wired to easily compute.
And the scale doesn't just stop at volume. It completely applies to size. If you thought our sun was terrifyingly huge, consider this comparison. There are stars out there that just completely dwarf ours. The biggest star we currently know of, VY Canis Majoris, is a staggering 2,000 times the diameter of our wimpy little sun. 2,000 times.
Section 4, The Galactic Quarter.
I absolutely love this next analogy. If you were to shrink our entire massive solar system down to the size of a single quarter, and then shrink the Milky Way Galaxy down using that exact same scale, the diameter of the Milky Way would roughly be the size of the entire United States. That is how unbelievably tiny our solar system is within our own galaxy.
We have to use analogies like that quarter, because the raw numbers are they're too big. The Milky Way is about 100,000 light-years wide. When you convert that into miles, it becomes a massive 621 quadrillion-mile stretch. Just an absurd number. And inside of all that math, inside of all that unfathomable space, is you. You live in a microscopic portion of this number. Yet, as crazy as it sounds, even our massive Milky Way is just a little runt compared to some other galaxies out there. NGC 6744, which is a spiral galaxy similar to our own, stretches over 200,000 light-years across. It is twice as wide as the Milky Way. It is incredibly massive.
Section 5. The Ultimate Perspective.
So let's think even bigger than a single galaxy. In just one small snapshot from the Hubble telescope, we can see thousands and thousands of individual galaxies. And every single one of those galaxies is packed with millions or even billions of stars. And many of them have their very own planets. And keep in mind, that picture is just a highly focused, very, very small part of the night sky.
When we look at that vast scale,
It's almost like a time machine. We are actually looking back through time. Some of the objects seen in those deep space images formed as many as 11 billion years ago. That was during the universe's busiest star-forming period, which happened just 3 billion years after the Big Bang. We are literally looking at ancient history.
So let's bring it all the way back down to you. After exploring these analogies and seeing how truly tiny our home Earth is in this impossibly large and ancient universe, I mean, are you really still upset about a canceled TV show or the fact that they play Christmas music way too early? The cosmos is vast, awe-inspiring, and beautifully humbling. But it leaves us with one final, undeniable question to chew on. If the universe is this massive and this ancient, are we really the only ones looking back at it? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer.